What's going on, everybody? We got some really good news right now for Bitcoin and for the whole overall crypto market. Bunch of news just keeps coming out left and right. So this is huge. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice. We're just gonna hop straight into this. But anyways, let's get straight to it. So 61.7K Bitcoin right now. So we're going up in price here in Bitcoin. But the big news is this: Grayscale CEO advocates for spot Bitcoin ETF options. That means Bitcoin is about to take over the stock market. And what does that mean? That means I'm about to take over the stock market too. I'm about to start doing some more stock videos. We're going to start talking stock market talk. We're going to start talking options trading because I think this is where, the real money is about to really be made as well. Now that Bitcoin's also coming into the play. Coinbase is going crazy. We're going to talk about that in this video as well. Coinbase is going crazy in the stock market. Options are at an all-time high. People are doing options left and right. So we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to start talking about stock options plays inside of different videos, different plays I'll be taking inside of this bull market. But first things first, we've already kind of talked about this in the previous video earlier today. 61.7K Bitcoin, very, very, very good. Bitcoin keeps going up 20% in the last 7 days, up 18% in the last 14 days, up 43% in the last 30 days, up 160% in the last year. So we got those numbers, those numbers are coming in. But this is the big news. Grayscale CEO advocates for spot Bitcoin ETF options. So Grayscale renewed pressure on the SEC to greenlight options on spot Bitcoin ETF as the investment manager seeks new rails to onboard capital into its crypto fund. So they're trying to get more money to go into their ETF. And how they're going to do that is by opening stock options trading. And if you don't know about it, definitely look into options. Just look up the SPY. The SPY is the ETF version of the S&P 500. So pretty much what this does is it tracks the top 500 companies, right, on the stock market. And it tracks those, and then you can also trade options against those. So you can buy these contracts, whether you want to buy calls or whatever you want to buy puts, or you want to sell cash secured puts. I said puts, but yeah, puts. But yeah, you can go ahead and do that if you want. I think it's just easier just to buy calls and buy puts, because when you start to do the cash secured ones, you start to do the iron condors. There's just so much stuff that you can do, right? There's just so much stuff that you can do here, and it's it's not really like too difficult. But if you're just sticking with buying calls and buying puts, you can do it as a beginner, right? But when you start to getting into all these complex things like the iron condors, you just have so many different strategies. You have so many different ones, but I just like doing buying calls and buying puts because it's very, very simple and straightforward. But right now, Bitcoin is about to take over the options trading. Bitcoin is about to take over the stock market. And that's exactly what they want, because you know how much money flows through the stock market when it goes through options trading? Like so much money flows through there when they're options trading. Now, if you want to go ahead and look at this, for the S&P 500's market cap is only, well, not that just the S&P 500, but the SPY, which is the ETF version of the S&P 500, is at $458 billion. If you look at Bitcoin is well above it. Bitcoin is going to take over the stock market when they get the options trading completely approved. Bitcoin's market cap 1.2 trillion. And if you look at the fully diluted value, 1.293 trillion. So Bitcoin's market cap is getting close up there to like the overall like American GDP. Like it's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of crazy to look at it like that. But it's absolutely insane. Actually, if you want to know the America's GDP, I got it right here. 23.32 trillion. So Bitcoin's is lower, but Bitcoin can definitely catch up to America's GDP, which is absolutely insane, thinking that something like that could even be possible. But anyways, Grayscale CEO Michael Sanchin, however you say it, said approving options for spot Bitcoin ETFs would benefit all GBTC investors and participants in other Bitcoin and other spot Bitcoin backed products looking to generate income and hedge financial positions. So he previously advocated for the speedy acceptance of spot Bitcoin ETF options as an additional tool for market regulation, as it would bring more stakeholders like broker dealers into the fold. Options allow investors to set buy and sell orders for assets at a specific price and date. The investment vehicle would also effectively expose spot Bitcoin ETF to new investors class and extra capital. And if you also think about it, when you're doing these options, you're buying contracts like times 100. So let's say I buy one SPY contract. That's one SPY contract, and that's like 100 shares pretty much. You're buying that one contract, which counts as 100 shares. So let's say I'm buying a contract at like 50. Let's just say it's a $20 contract. So that's going to be like 20, and then like by the 100. So this is a huge scale of doing things. So if Bitcoin gets accepted to options in the ETF options, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. Like people are going to be making some bank doing the options. Like it's almost like trading crypto futures. It's almost the exact same thing, except it's a little bit different. There's expiration dates, whereas in futures, you can just open them. There's no expiration date as long as you don't get liquidated. If you get liquidated because you're doing like over leveraging yourself, then there's obviously that expiration date. But for say there is expiration dates with spot ETFs. So with the options. So, that's something that's different, which makes it a little bit more riskier than doing crypto futures trading, but it's still a good way to try to make some extra income if you're really good at trading. So I'm going to be doing some videos for the spot ETF options when that comes out. But anyway, spot Bitcoin ETFs have already exceeded expectations in the opening 2 months of trading. 9 new issuers accumulated over 7 billion in trading volume. Blah 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 blah. Big money's coming in. That's pretty much all they're saying here. So you definitely want to be aware. But anyways, the SEC has acknowledged a request for spot Bitcoin ETF options filed by NASDAQ in January. However, experts predict it could take months before it is approved and publicly available. So it could take a few months, but they've acknowledged it. It was initiated in January, so they know it's there. They're probably going to approve it. They're probably just taking time. But yeah, stock market is doing extremely well right now. This is the SPY ETF, and you can see 28.71% over the last year. Over the last 5 years, 81%. The max is 1,000%, obviously, because it's the max. But as of recently, I mean, the SPY has been doing pretty good. Obviously, the last 5 days, down 0.23%. But for the last month, it's up 3.86%. Remember, the stock market moves much slower than Bitcoin. So for the stock market to be up, this much, like that's a lot. And if you look at all the time periods here for the stock market, like we haven't had a significant pullback in a very, very long time. The last significant pullback, I guess you could say 2020 when we went from $333 to $228. Or you can say it was 2021 when we went from $470 down to $357. We haven't had a major pullback since then. So there's always the possibility that it pulls back hard. But with this big news, it's going to be very hard for them to get it to pull back hard. Now we got stuff like Apple and stuff. You can also trade the Apple options, but Apple's obviously, always growing because they're always making new products because they're making phones that really don't even upgrade every year. But that's another topic for another discussion. But anyways, Bitcoin and Coinbase. Anytime Bitcoin is doing well, the Coinbase stock on the stock market is doing well as well. So that's another good thing. Now we can go ahead and look up the Coinbase stock because Coinbase stock is at $203 right now. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pull this up for you guys, and we're at $203 Coinbase stock, $203.56 up, 2.76% for the day, up 21.92% for the last 5 days. 57.86% for the last month. So just because Coinbase has Bitcoin on its side, it's doing better than the whole S&P 500. It's doing better than the SPY ETF stock. So that tells you a lot. Like Bitcoin is really going to change the stock market for the better. Like it's gonna be crazy. Now, obviously, over like all time, Coinbase is down because when they first IPO'd and they first launched, like they had a huge valuation and then like it kind of underperformed because it was during a bear market. Like they launched right at the end of the bull market going into the bear market, and then they completely crashed down to $35. But let's say you opened your options inside of December 16th of 2022 at $36 per share, and you open those options, and then you spread those options all the way out till like the end of 2024 or something like that. Well, you would be up big time right now. You would be up big time on those options. And that's the beauty of doing options because when you do it for the long term and you put a lot of money in for the long term because you expect a high growth, you get so much money back. Imagine putting $10,000, or most people don't got $10,000 put in. Let's just say 1,000. Imagine putting $1,000 into Coinbase options back when it was like $36. You could probably get it 36 cents per contract, and that's per options contract. So obviously you would multiply that by 100. So that that's just so much better to do. Like, just imagine that. Just imagine spending like $1,000 and getting like $100,000 back in 2 years. Like that's the type of stuff people are doing inside the stock market with options. Like, if you don't believe me, look up the whole Wall Street bets thing when that was going crazy. People were making money, but then they YOLO'd it and they kept YOLOing it and they kept losing more money. But anyways, let's go over the Coinbase thing. So Bitcoin surge boosts Coinbase. Crypto stocks reversing early 2024 losses. So the recent surge in Bitcoin has significantly impacted the performance of companies associated with crypto mining and trading, most seeing double-digit gains in a month. And this is true because the Riot stock doing very well. Let me go ahead and look up Riot stock for you guys. Riot stock. All right. That this is Riot. So there's a lot of different stocks. Actually, I don't know if this is the correct Riot. There's a lot of different stocks out there. So yeah, this is the correct one, I believe. All right. So this stock right here doing pretty good, 24.96 cents, 24.96% inside of the past month. But remember, they're a mining company, and we're about to have the Bitcoin halving coming in. So the Bitcoin halving is going to affect this stock heavily. Right now, it's down 9.78% in the last 24 hours. Inside of the last 5 days, 6.74%. So there's two ways that this can go. The mining could either push miners harder because they're making less Bitcoin per mining, which is probably going to push them to get even more mining rigs so they can mine even more, which could cause Riot platforms to rise in price because now they themselves have to get more mining rigs. Or it could be the whole other way around. Or it could make them be like, oh man, we're not going to be able to make profit. So they just don't make the profit because, their rewards are being cut in half. So then their stock could go down. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could spin this. And that's the beauty of options trading. You're rolling the dice. Which one do you think it has a even like better chance of happening? Me personally, I think Bitcoin mining stocks will probably go up, but they're gonna suffer an initial drop. They're gonna suffer an initial drop just off speculation. People are gonna speculate. They're gonna be like, look, they're getting less rewards, so they're making less revenue. We're gonna go ahead and short the stock. We're gonna go ahead and buy some puts. So that's inevitably gonna drop the price. But over the long term, they're going to see, well, they're just going to keep buying more mining rigs. So they're going to increase their revenue again tenfold because Bitcoin is going to increase in price as well. That's why we have the halving, because the Bitcoin price is always increasing and they want to start, reducing the amount of supply that is going back into the market. So I think, initially it's going to go down, but then we're going to get a huge pump for these, which is why you want to probably put your options longer out instead of doing short term options. Maybe put your options out for a year or maybe put them out for 6 months. But when you just put out your options for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're really rolling the dice and you could get burned. Probably will get burned, but you can make a lot more money like that. But you could probably get burned a lot worse like that too. But anyways, that's just the little strategy that I use. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor, nothing's financial advice. But let's keep going. February is shaping up to be a standout month for Bitcoin as the leading cryptocurrency has gained over 45% this month, making the most substantial monthly gain for Bitcoin since December 2020. The bullish uptrend has contributed to a 36% rise in an index tracking digital asset related firms, a notable recovery from a more than 20% decrease than the previous month. The widespread enthusiasm for cryptocurrencies was evident on Wednesday when Coinbase, a leading cryptocurrency exchange, experienced service disruptions. So Coinbase has seen its volume increase by over 56% inside February alone. So if you've seen that 56% increase in February alone, if you would have seen that in options, that would be 560%. That would be 5,600%. If just depending on what type of options, if you did in the money or out of the money, it would just depend. But I'll talk about that in different videos, the difference between those. But 560% compared to just a 56% increase. Because if you just buy the stock and you just hold the stock, you're just getting 56%. But if you're really betting on it and you do the options trading, you're buying calls, you're betting on it going up, you're getting 560%. Imagine putting $1,000 in, getting 560% off of your $1,000, walking out with $5,600 off of your $1,000, then turning around, finding another stock that does the same thing, withdrawing $3,600 or something like that, withdrawing $4,000, trading with the 1,600, and then watching that money go up to 6,000, withdrawing 5,000, trade with your 1,000, watch that money goes up to 5,000, or it could go down too. But this is the way that people make a lot of money with options trading. You have to have your risk management in place. If you don't have good risk management, you're gonna lose a lot of money. That's why I always say, like, when I'm trading, if I have 1,000, I turn it to 5,000. I withdraw 4,000, and then I take that 1,000 and I put it into another trade. And then I make another 5,000, withdraw 4,000, take that 1,000, put it into another trade. And you just keep taking the profits. Because a lot of people, they're like, man, I got 5,000 now. I'm going to trade with 5,000 so I can walk out with 25,000 next. But when you start doing that, if you lose the whole 5,000, now you're out and you have nothing. Whereas if you take the 1,000 and you lose it, you still got 4,000. Or if you take the 1,000 and you win, now you got another 5,000. Now you can withdraw 4,000 and trade with 2,000. You see how this works? It's very, very simple. And you just keep increasing. But yeah, anyways, this is pretty much all I got for y'all today. We're doing pretty good with the stock market and with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to take over the stock market. Let me know what you guys think about this. Hit the like button and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. You want the best trading view indicators inside of the world. Check out the link in the description for Chart Prime. Very, very cheap. Very, very good. And as always, I'll be back with another video.